Good evening. Well, this is going to be an update video on first aid kits. I have a very serious burn on my right knee, and after going to spend a great deal of money on bandages and tape and stuff for this, I decided maybe I better update both my kits. This is the one that I take when we go motorcycle riding. This is my home kit. So I'm going to start with the small kit. Um, I learned a few things that both my kits were very, very, very out of date. So this is the first thing. Always have a set of sterile gloves with you, whether in your home kit or your motorcycle kit. This burn is serious enough that I need to use all sterile meds on it. And honestly, I didn't realize how far behind some of my things were until I got this. So, motorcycle kit, we always have iGel with us. If you've ever been on the bike and got sand in your eyes, you need to wash it out with water. But then your eyes are extremely dry from that. So you need something to moisten your eyes up. This is what you would use, is an eye gel. This is red remover eye drops. Same thing, if you need it because your eyes are red or stinging, it will help. But there's a second reason to have this in your kit. This will clot blood better than anything I've ever seen. Even compression doesn't always work. A few drops of this, do not touch the wound with the applicator, but a few drops of this will help the blood to clot. You should always have alcohol pads. I also carry sting pads. Ever gotten a bee sting on the motorcycle? Ooh, that hurts. Also, towelettes for washing out wounds. This particular kit was fairly close to being up to date, but not up to date enough that I should really honestly needed to go through it and update it terrifically. Now, the one thing that is not in this kit is small packets of like bacitracin or Neosporin. I haven't been able to find those. I can probably find them on Amazon, but I'm also not going to pay the price that Amazon wants for this. I wish you could find this at the pharmacy. The other thing to update is OTC medications, aspirin, ibuprofen, Tylenol, antacid, stuff for diarrhea, sinus decongestant, and antihistamines. Keep this stuff together. Make sure that you go back and check your expiration dates. Mine were almost 10 years old. Yikes. Also, the other thing that I carry in my small kit, other than bandages, safety pins. You may need to make a splint or make a cradle for an arm. You can do that with a t-shirt and a few safety pins. Okay, the inside of the kit. Now mind you, this kit is no longer waterproof. It used to be, but I accidentally washed it once. Don't do that. But I keep my bandages in that, in the bigger kit, the bigger pocket of the kit, and I've updated this a lot. Tweezers. There is also a thing for hydration. Scissors, sterile swabs. These are all things that you should have in your kit. But what I had to do is update bandages and types of bandages. Now, these are finger and knuckle bandages. Yeah, they're not always a necessity, but if you've ever smashed your finger, you're gonna be glad to have these with you. Regular bandages in multiple sizes. These are butterflies. Yeah, you get a deep cut, you need to close that cut. And sometimes you are far enough away from a hospital that you can't stop it. This is gauze in multiple sizes. 2-inch. These are 3s. And these are big Band-Aids. Nice to have if you've got an OT. I keep everything rubber band together. That way it fits tightly in my kit. This is the one thing that I did not have in this kit, are large gauze pads. These are 4x4s. I do have a couple small ones. One of the things that I did put in is honey gauze dressing. This has been a lifesaver with this burn. And the other one, I'm gonna take is this. This will help heal a wound very quickly. Keep these things in your kits. This always freaks the guys out. And I haven't figured out, I know why, but it kind of bothers me that it freaks you out. Tape. This is cloth tape. You're gonna need, some people, paper, I can only use paper tape for myself, but if you're patching somebody else up, you want cloth tape. And what I do to make sure I can find the edge is I fold it over. Okay, guys, before y'all go flipping your lids, I want you to think about something. You've got a deep bleeding wound. You have an abdominal pad that will soak up a lot of blood. You can use this for compression and hold it in place and keep it in place, and it will work. But let's say you've got more than one person with one of these. I only have one of these in my kit. The other thing I have in my kit is a woman's sanitary pad. Don't flip out. This will absorb a lot, I mean a lot of blood, as well as this will. It may be not sterile, but it's better than having somebody bleed to death. last thing is tampons. We were riding with a bunch of our friends, and we came across apparently some land that somebody didn't want motorcycles on. It was public land, but apparently somebody really hated bikers. And they stuck rebar into the ground at a fence gate. One of our guys had a piece of that rebar jump up and go through the calf of his leg. And like a fool, that person yanked it out and damn near bled to death. We had had a tampon and the eye drops, the red eye drops. We could have stopped the bleeding very quickly. He was very fortunate that he lived. He was also very fortunate that the only scar that he has is on one side of his leg. He almost bled to death. We had t-shirts and all that kind of stuff wrapped around this wound, trying to absorb up the blood. He basically nicked an artery in his leg. And he almost bled to death because of that. If we had had a female tampon along with the eye drops, we could have stopped that bleeding very quickly and gotten him to a hospital. So this is my small kit. Also in my small kit, I have an instant cold compress, and a first aid book. If you get a first aid book if you buy a kit and get a first aid book, read the first aid book. Read it several times. That way you have a general knowledge of what you need to do. And you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off saying, oh, what do I do? What do I do? He's going to bleed to death. If you know what to do ahead of time, you're liable to save somebody's life. I'm going to set this off to the side and show you my big kit. I have redone this entirely. Like I said, this is an update video. This kit now has everything that I'm gonna ever need in it. So, we've got wound care, burns, and blisters. Okay. Small 2x2 pads. This is sterile swabs and moleskin and steri strips, large band-aids. One of the things that I found out after burning my knee as badly as I did, these large bandages like this really don't work well with that, because you want to keep a burn closed, moist, and comfortable. The other bandages that are in here, oh, I'm gonna have them sliding all over the place. This Next Cares. These are hydrocolloidal bandages. So if you get a bad burn, clean it out, do what you're supposed to do, but those will help to heal a burn much quicker. Okay. It comes with an instruction sheet in each compartment. 4x4s. And I've added honey gauze and these type of bandages to my kit. Mainly because this is probably what is going to heal my knee faster than anything else. It's been almost a month since I burnt my knee, and if it doesn't start healing soon, completely healing, I'm most likely gonna have to go to wound care, because this is, it's not infected, thank God, but it's not healing as fast as it should. Plus I have all my Band-Aids in the front compartment. These are small Band-Aids, fingers and knuckles. Regular Band-Aids, regular Band-Aids. Also, these are sterile swabs. One thing that you always need with your first aid kit is a flashlight. Because you could get hurt and be in the dark, and that's not a good idea. So have a flashlight with working batteries in it. This is the wound care blister portion of it. This is first aid manual, medication, and instruments. So, same thing that I did with the small kit. I went and got from Amazon, I went and got ibuprofen, aspirin, non-aspirin, that type of stuff. Put that in the kit. Even though I have that stuff in my bathroom, in my cupboard, I want to make sure that I have spares. This is multiple things of burn gel, bacitracin, sting and bite relief, alcohol pads. I keep all of this in little plastic bags because this kit is not waterproof at all. And after looking at our group's motorcycle kit, it's not waterproof either. So everything that was in that kit is now in plastic bags. This is a guide on the medications. I'm going to slip that back in. This is something that a lot of people don't have in their kit, but if you have a very, very, very dirty wound, you may need to be able to wash it out. So what you're going to do is you're going to make up a betadine solution with clean, potable water. You're going to suck it up in this, and you're going to squish it out and aim that little point into that wound. The more dirt you can get out, the less likely it's going to get infected. Campho-Phenique. This is one thing I can use. It's very good for minor burns and that kind of stuff. It kind of numbs it up. Bacitracin. This is thermometers. This is a single butterfly. I've got a couple. I figure if I'm gonna need them at home, I can usually call the police and have somebody here. This is Silverex burn gel. And one of my favorite things in this kit is a little tiny, teeny pair of tweezers. These are instrumental for picking out wood ticks. Kept in a little vial and kept in my kit. Okay, this is betadine solution. You're never going to use this in this packet. You're going to mix it with water. Another thing, a burn ointment. Whoops, this one's been open. That one can go bye-bye. Hydration. This is going to go into the motorcycle kit because I think it's more important than there. If you have something happen and you're the person doing first aid, you need to write everything down that you have done. This is a surgical pad for soaking up bad bleeding wounds. Another surgical pad. And probably the best first aid book I have ever read in my entire life. I've read this cover to cover, both sides, all the way through. It gives you tips that you may not even have thought of. Okay, this is the instructions on the honey bandages and what to do with them. Okay, I'm going to slide all this over to the side here so that I can show you the bottom. This is bleeding and CPR. If you have a kit, please know how to do CPR. It could save a family member's life. Could save somebody's life. This is a mask. If you're worried about germs, this can be put over the nose and the mouth so that your mouth is the only thing that's touching their skin if you have a cold or if they possibly have something like tuberculosis or AIDS or something like that. This is what you use. This is basic bleeding and CPR instructions and another large pad. No, this side is for fractures and sprains. It came with a very small, very lightweight ace bandage. I should replace it, but I haven't. But what I did add to make sure to add is a triangle bandage. You can use this for tying one of these in place. You can use it for making a sleeve or something to hold an arm or a leg. Now these are not sterilized, but they're better than not having anything. No, I will be adding a few safety pins to this kit, but this is the instruction booklet. Like I said, each compartment has its own instruction book. And it's very simple, very easy to understand. I will add this to this video. If you are over the age of 65 and you have joints that get stiff and nasty if you sit too long or on the motorcycle or whatever, take something for it, ibuprofen, something like that, before you ever use a thermal care heat patch or the generic ones that Walgreens makes, the generic ones that CVS makes, generic ones from any store. This is what's caused the burn on my knee. It's a deep second degree, nearly third degree burn that will probably take at least 2 months to heal, that I'm going to have a hurt. It looks like I touched my knee to the manifold or a muffler on a motorcycle. It has been painful and uncomfortable and very hard to deal with. Part of this is the fact that it's right where my knee bends, and not a very easy place to keep a bandage on. So now I went through, I don't have the motorcycle kit. I have it here, but I'm not going to show it because it has our group's name on it. I went through our group's first aid kit and ran through everything that's in it. A lot of the stuff that is in it is outdated. Some of these type things have been somehow gotten open, so they're not useful anymore. It's going to probably cost us between $75 and $100 to redo this kit. I like the fact that our kit has our group name on it. And thank God we've had it a few times, because we've had several people that have taken really bad wipeouts, including Kirk, who, I swear to God, his stepmother should have been screaming in his ear because she passed away a year before this happened. Grace is always been kind of our safety person. You never go out on the motorcycle with thong sandals or clothes that aren't safe. She was always the person that said, go put your jeans on, you're not riding in shorts. 2 years ago, Kirk rode in nylon polyester type shorts down to the gate where we camp to let people in, because we keep the gate locked, and he wiped out. He had road rash over 70% of his body. And if it hadn't been for the fact that the people that were there heard him crash, no one would have known. He was life-flighted from Sturgis to Pierre, South Dakota, and then life-flighted again to Rochester, Mayo. He spent 3.5 months in the hospital and 70 hours in the hyperbaric chamber. Thank God he survived. But the first aid kit was with the group at the time, and if it had not been for the fact that it was with the group, it took the sheriff 20 minutes to get there. It took the ambulance another 20 minutes to get there. He would have died. But because we had a good first aid kit with, and everybody knew what to do, it most likely saved his life. He has had 4 skin grafts. And the one thing that we are so grateful for is he's alive. The other thing that we're so grateful for is he is now married and has a new baby son. So, do first aid kits matter? Yes, they do. Are they necessary? My belief is yes, they are necessary. Should you have one? My belief is yes. Been a long-winded video, but this is an update, and I will be putting it on both my channels. I think that it's necessary for everybody to have one of these, and it's also necessary to make sure that you know how to use it properly. Now, I am not first aid certified. I am CPR certified. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening. Bye.